Yes, everybody, welcome back. My name is Stephen Howson, and this is 5 things that we learnt watching Manchester United beat Watford 3-0. Oh, 0-3 goals. Things top mint. Number 1, Tony Marshall is on fire. Good form from Anthony Marshall, and yesterday's goal was absolutely X-rated. Oh, my goodness. 3 goals in his last 3 appearances for Manchester United. This is a brilliant run of form that Tony's on. It's really pleasing to see that he's actually stepped up, and I think Bruno Fernandes playing alongside him is definitely helping when he finds him with some of the passes that he's been finding him with. The goal he scored against Watford, there was an excellent run into the box, probably a little bit unlucky not to find the net with his first shot, but when he retrieves the ball again, he's only one thing on his mind, and I think he surprised even himself when he does that little bit of a skill, pulls it back and sees that I could probably just chip this into the net from here, which he does, and it's outrageous, and I love it. Tony has this habit of dipping in and out of games, and it's very frustrating to watch as a fan, and it's why I have this gut instinct that he's not the kind of guy that I think Solskjaer wants leading the line going forward. I think when you look at what Haaland offers in a physical and hold-up sort of presence, Tony doesn't do that. Maybe Solskjaer's working on his movement as a striker in and around the box, trying to get that predatory instinct in him. I think he's a wide forward. I don't think he's a centre forward, and I think that's a clear distinction. At the moment, he's playing at centre forward because it probably suits him better than it suits Marcus Rashford, and certainly suits better than it suits someone like Mason Greenwood for the time being, I think. But Tony's in good form at the moment, and long may it continue, because we are going to lean heavily on him as the season draws to a close to make sure that we get into that top 4 and advance into the latter stages of the FA Cup and the Europa League. Instant impact from Fernandes. Bruno's been involved in 2 assists and 1 goal in his last 2 matches for Manchester United, and when we looked at the stats that he was pulling up at Sporting Lisbon, we was like, yeah, that's not going to translate to the Premier League in any way, shape or form. But that extremely small sample size does look like it's lining up with the player that we was expecting to get. Now, I've just had a quick check there of what he actually got in terms of man of the match. He was man of the match against Wolves, and he was man of the match against Watford. And I think he was extremely influential against Chelsea, although Eric Bailly was awarded the official man of the match title. Bruno Fernandes has hit the ground running, and has hit the ground as good as any signing that I've seen Manchester United make, certainly in the last 5 or 6 years, and I think it's very pleasing to see. When we were signing him, the thing that I was quite positive about is that even though he's coming from a league where you're going to get more time on the ball, what I've seen of him is that he's always very early. He's early on the pass, he's early on the shot, he's early on the through ball. Everything that he seems to do, he does it at a bit of a tempo. And I still have reservations about his physicality. He can be shoved off the ball a little bit, and I think that's something that we've got to watch out for. But this free roll that he's operating at the moment, where he just pops up and does whatever he wants, however he wants, his ability on the ball is quite frankly ridiculous. And I can't wait to see when he's got 3 proper runners, when Marcus Rashford's back in the team, when we have an actual right wing on the opposite side, and Tony Marshall playing down the middle. I can't wait to see what he starts to pull out. I thought even though he was sort of lining up in a 10, I think he operated a bit more like a number 8 against Watford, and that's where I really want to see him operate in the future. I want to see United revert to a midfield 3. That might be Grealish on the left-hand side sort of area and Bruno on the right-hand side sort of area. I could see that working extremely well. If we can have someone like McTominay operating behind and just playing those simple balls, because that's really all he's got in his locker. He's not got that long ball. But if he's got Grealish and Fernandes looking to create, and someone like Sancho off on the right-hand side, Scott McTominay would look fantastic just being the screen and the shield right in behind all those. But anyway, back to Fernandes. 3 shots, 1 goal, 1 off target, 1 blocked, 1 chance created. Also 3 out of 3 take-ons and 5 ball recoveries, 1 out of 1 tackle and 2 out of 2 clearances. He's doing it at both ends of the field, which is why I think there's more to him than just a number 10 sort of playmaker. He's a genuine box-to-box midfielder, a proper number 8, and that's what I like to see. Absolute ridiculous range of passing. Now, I did notice this during the game yesterday, only 67.5% pass completion. But if you look at his map and look at the ones that he's not completing, it's not a 2-yard pass. It's the ones that are really trying to make things happen. And that's the thing that you always have. People used to bring it out about Sanchez. Oh, he loses the ball more than anyone in the United side. Well, the players that lose the ball the most, Kevin De Bruyne and Messi, are 2 of the people that lose the ball the most. And that's because they're trying to make things happen. My issue when Ashley Young was doing this, it was the areas that he was playing the balls in, the areas that he was losing it, and the absolute complete lack of chance creation that comes from him. When you're performing like Bruno Fernandes is, you accept that risk. Because even when it doesn't complete, you go, oh, fucking hell, that was close, wasn't it? and that's what we like to see from him, and I'm really enjoying him watching him in a red shirt at the moment. Mason Greenwood, proving how special he is. 18 years old, putting in another fantastic performance, a mature performance actually from Mason Greenwood. He is the top scoring under-19 player across Europe's top 5 leagues. 11 goals now Mason Greenwood's sitting on, which is a brilliant return. I think at the start of the season, if any of us had said Mason's going to get 11 goals, you'd have been like, fuck, really? And he could end up with something like 15, which would be a fantastic return in your first full senior season, which I think is an outrageous number of goals in a team that doesn't create a lot of chances like Manchester United. Brilliant piece of skill to set up his own goal, essentially. He started the move just outside the 18-yard box. He driven across the halfway line. He plays it off to the right-hand side and then receives the ball back. And again, the early out of his feet and early to bang it into the top corner. Fantastic from Mason Greenwood. And not only is it the goal scoring that you get with Greenwood, which is why I think he's going to be a proper number 9 with 2 forwards playing either side of him, 2 chances created. That's what you miss about Mason Greenwood's play, is that he is unselfish. He brings others into the game with a very high degree of skill. Mason Greenwood, mint. Fred's form continues. From around about early December, maybe back end of November, Fred really started to step up. And we noticed it on 5 Things We Learned, and we've been talking about it ever since. But the good form is continuing, and actually when he's got very good players alongside him, he's starting to look even better. Against Watford, 50 out of 56 passes, which gives him an 89% pass accuracy. 9 out of 11 passes going into the final third. He also created 2 chances himself, 9 ball recoveries, 5 out of 7 tackles, 2 interceptions. Fred, McTominay and Bruno could be our best option going into the back end of the season once Scott gets 90 minutes under his belt and starts being able to be a first choice for us again. He looked pretty bright when he came on as well. Would Paul Pogba coming back completely set up the apple cart? I think on paper everyone goes, of course you're going to play Pogba. Why wouldn't you play Pogba? But I think some of the things that you get from both McTominay, from Fred, that you might go, do you know what? This works. Why bring in something that might not work? And number 5, VAR rescued the clean sheet. If it wasn't for the correct decision, this is, let's be honest with ourselves here, it was the correct decision, but it did require someone having a look at it from VAR to say that, yeah, actually that shouldn't be given. United are still vulnerable at corners. We are still far too easily opened up from set pieces. Again, we saw this at Chelsea when something was ruled out. Again, correctly ruled out, but still, we are opened up from these set pieces. United have to be more robust. United have to be more offensive when we are defending these sorts of set pieces. We have to be the first to the ball, not as reactive as we are. We need to massively and drastically improve, because as we get to the latter stages of Europa League, some of these teams are extremely well drilled and they'll be like, there you go, that's how you beat Manchester United. Get a corner and bang it in front post, because it's so easy to beat us there. And pretty much that was the only negative to really say about the Watford game, because everything kind of went to plan. There was a little bit of sloppiness and perhaps laziness early in the first half, but there was also an extremely effective press that we saw from Watford. I do want to see how United cope and find another way to play through the press, because we've seen so many teams come and press our back line that we resort to going to De Gea. And I honestly think that it shouldn't be an option for us to go to De Gea. We need to find a way to play through that, drive through that, or even just go long to that. But we don't have anyone who can hold it up at the other end. Maybe that's why we're looking at different styles of number 9s to be able to get in there, be combative and hold the ball up. Because United at the moment, the worst aspects of our game, set pieces, getting pressed, those are things that I'm hoping they're trying to do on the training ground, and maybe we'll see by the end of the season that we actually start to overcome that sort of thing. But aside from that, pretty good performance, very well taken goals, and we created so many chances that it's pretty pleasing to see. So there you go, Manchester United 3, Watford 0. Fantastic result for United, keeping the pressure on the top 4. Can we do it? Are we going to do it? Let me know in the comments. I'll see you in the next one.